pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Seat there. Now we will have our roll call by the clerk.
Councilmember Archibald.
Here.
Councilmember Haremza.
Here.
Councilmember Lamb. Councilmember Mosrak.
Here.
Councilmember Payton.
Here.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Here.
Mayor Ashford.
Present. Council members, you have before you minutes of April the 14th. What is your pleasure? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Archibald and second by Councilmember Pemberton. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call please, clerk.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza.
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak.
Yes.
Councilmember Payton.
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Yes.
Mayor Ashford.
Yes. Presentations, Rick.
Proclamation recognizing Saturday, May 10th as Letter Carriers Stamp Out Hunger Food Drive Day.
Okay, if you would join me at the podium. You're going to accept this. Great. Okay, we have a proclamation on behalf of the food drive. It says, whereas hunger affects millions of people nationwide, including millions of children, seniors, and military veterans, and whereas food pantry shelves filled from winter holiday giving are often bare late in spring. And whereas the letter carriers Stamp Out Hunger food drive is just one example of how letter carriers work to make a difference in the lives of those they serve. And whereas since the pilot drive was held in 1993, more than 1.9 billion pounds of food have been collected. And whereas in Port Huron in 2024, 64,000 pounds of donated food was collected locally by letter carriers, and whereas this year hundreds of households in our country will struggle to provide enough food for their families, and whereas we recognize all letter carriers for their hard work and their commitment to their communities, and whereas all of the food collected in our community stays in our community, and we support letter carriers' efforts to help those in need in our community, and whereas the National Association of Letter Carriers continue to work to end the challenges of hunger in the state of Michigan through its 32nd annual Stamp Out Hunger food drive, and whereas on May 10, 2025, the second Saturday of May, the letter carriers will collect food donations to be distributed to pantries and food banks at a much needed time of year. Now, therefore, I, Anita R. Ashford, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Port Huron, and on behalf of Councilmember Archibald, Haremza, Lamb, Mosrak, Payton, and Pemberton, do hereby proclaim the second Saturday in May as Letter Carrier Stamp Out Hunger Food Drive Day in Port Huron, and I urge all people in our city to join me in this special observance. In witness whereof, I do hereby set my hand and cause the corporate seal of the city of Port Huron to be affixed this 28th day of April 2025. Thank you very much. Can we give her a round of applause? You know, I'm going to have to confess in our rules, if we have something we don't be applauding, you know, because you don't applaud when something's going bad, you want to applaud when we don't want you to do it. But sometimes when you can bring people together and applaud for the good things we have in life, it does something within you. So that's why I'm the chair, so I was breaking the rules. So you'll know that. So if you go back and you read, that's what that's all about. So would you like to have a few words?
I just wanted to say thank you for the community, for everyone that helps us with this event. It's a national event, but here in town, as we know, that a lot of people are struggling to make ends meet. And even if it's an extra $20 a week going to the food pantry to get something, it really helps fill the deficit. Maybe they can use that money towards their electric bill or something like that. So I just wanted to say thank you to you, Mayor, and to everyone of the staff that make everyone aware that this year you guys set up here also a donation to where people can bring food, and all the employees are bringing food. So we just want to say thank you for the extra support this year. Yes.
Yes, we did. You know, when you lead, you have to lead so people will follow. So we had a meeting, the city clerk's office and I, and we said, well, if we're going to give this proclamation, then we ought to be in a position that we could put up some food boxes here. So I'd like to thank Cindy and Kelsey and the whole entire staff in the clerk's office to do that, to make that happen. They had a box out in the lobby area, and people had brought food in. So thank you. Okay, right now we will open our public comments, but I'd like to read this. I know we have a lot of first-timers in the audience. If anyone in the audience wishes to address the City Council on any agenda item or any matter under the city jurisdiction, now is the time to do so. You are allotted 1 4-minute opportunity to make your comments. And when you make your comments, before you make your comments, please say your name and your address. And I also going to tell you, don't have this gavel up here, so the 4 minutes we're going to stick to it. We're just going to get through this and keep the decorum going and respect one another while you're speaking from the podium. So at this time, anyone, you're welcome to the podium at this time.
My name is Jody Parman. My address is 1425 Pleasant Place, Port Huron, Michigan, 48060. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here to support ordinance number 25-002 for backyard chickens in Port Huron. This ordinance isn't just about a few hens clucking in someone's backyard. It's about bringing something real, sustainable, and strength back to our community at a time that we really need it. Today's families in Port Huron are paying up to $7.50 for eggs and almost $9 if they're organic. And it's not just about inflation. There's also a national bird flu. So we've had over 100 million birds that have died that are causing serious shortages nationwide. And even the USDA now supports responsible backyard flocks as a way to rebuild local food resilience. Allowing small backyard flocks gives families a way to take control of their food, know exactly what's going into their food. I don't know if you've ever compared an egg that is hatched in someone's backyard to one that you get from the store, but it is markedly different. The eggs are richer in color, they're richer in nutrients, they are better for you and your families. It also helps them save money, and it teaches children a powerful, lasting lesson. Where does their food come from? How does it get to their table? It doesn't magically appear at Meijer. This teaches them responsibility of taking care of the chickens, collecting the eggs, and children today are all about their screens. This is a good reason to kick them outside and say, go play. Go chase some chickens. Go have fun in the backyard. Like I used to do when I was a kid, right? And we need more reasons to get the kids outside. Chickens also help strengthen a community and a neighborhood. If you have neighbors and you're raising a backyard flock, but not everybody on your block is, you can share them with your neighbors. You get to know them. You know, you might have someone that's housebound who can't even get to the grocery store. So this really builds neighborhoods, builds community connections, and I just think it's amazing for our community. And when it comes to the objections, and I know there are many, if you're talking about noise, hens do not make a lot of noise. The roosters obviously are loud, but hens are quiet, and they're certainly quieter than dogs barking. And we allow those in our backyard, right? And when it comes to taking care of animals, you have to take care of all the animals. We already accept that people will take care of the dogs in the backyard, they take care of and clean up the cats in the backyard. Chickens are no different. They just happen to give us eggs. And they also produce, you know, their byproducts can be used to fertilize our gardens, to grow crops, and, you know, it really makes for a sustainable neighborhood project. And when it comes to diseases, that's one of the big things that come up. The CDC just recommends hand washing. Basic care. You're gonna handle an animal, you're gonna wanna wash your hands afterwards. That's as simple as it is. So I respectfully urge you to vote yes to change the ordinance to allow for backyard chickens. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, weighing in at 2.5 pounds of fluff, hailing from Port Huron, Michigan, Polly the Possum! Okay. So for the past, this will be 5 years.
Your name and address,
Julian
please.
Ruff, 750 15th Street, also Polly's place. For the past, this will be 5 years, me and Polly the Possum have been growing and giving away food to the community in bulk and in numbers unseen before in Port Huron. Now, a lot of you don't know this, but when we first bought our lot on the pier, it just happened to be Groundhog Day of year 2021. And when I went out there into that space, I actually set up a tripod right after we finished buying that lot. And I live streamed myself jumping up and down in excitement and joy for what we were about to install in that space. Knowing right away we'd have...
Mr. Ruck, speaking to the council.
Knowing right away we'd have Polly the Possum, a mascot, and an ongoing urban gardening effort. Well, Mother Nature heard my joy, and she sent Polly the Possum to help me in my journey. So she's been helping me in secret. But she's been there, Mayor Ashford, when you visited us that one time out at that first Polly's place, and also at the new location. She's been there when, Mr. Huron, you and I walked around the neighborhood and you listened intently to the story of how we got to be where we are. And she's been there, Madam Clerk and Councilmember Payton, as you have steadfastly worked for the betterment of the community and consistently put your own needs behind the needs of the community. So these flowers are from Olin Brooks that we grew over there together, and the onions that we've given you as well are from the garden space at the south side of Polly's place. Now, you may notice, Mayor Ashford, you are Team Blue. Madam Clerk, you are Team Yellow. Councilmember Payton, Team Red, and Councilmember Huron, Team Green. In your envelope, you have 20 tokens that match that color. This summer, throughout the whole city, Polly the Possum has organized a scavenger hunt and field day in July featuring your 4 teams. You're the nominated captains. You can pass your nomination on to anyone else in the community if you so choose. But Polly and myself will be in touch with you between now and then for a citywide adventure that exposes all the beautiful gardens in the community, all the food drive efforts, everything everybody is doing to try to end hunger in Port Huron permanently as soon as possible. Now tonight we're going to talk about chickens too, right? Got a little bit of time. We don't yet have urban agricultural zoning. Right now, the gardens in the community are not safe. I want chickens. I want to integrate that into our systems as much as anyone. Right now, I don't want to be distracted by the shiny quarter when there's a $100 bill sitting on the table. We still need to figure out urban ag zoning and urban agriculture for Port Huron, and any conversation that doesn't include Polly the possum might just need to be had again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else wishing to come before the city council this evening?
Evening, Sarah Milnar, 3554 Marlette Road, Croswell, Michigan. I'm actually attending tonight as part of Matchstick City. We help manage Polly's Place down on the south end. And I just wanted to touch base and let you guys know that we did plant 30 fruit trees and 100 asparagus this past week down at the garden. So we are well on our way to making it a sustainable, fruitful garden to help provide food to the community for generations to come.
Thank you. Is there any?
Good evening. My name is Jimmy Dotto, 1217 9th Street, Port Huron. I'd like to bring in light of this administration's unconstitutional and illegal war on immigration. Families of immigrants and U.S. citizens alike are now living in a state of terror. Warrantless masked individuals invading our courthouses, home invasions if you are suspect, i.e. Hispanic, with tattoos, which I am, have thrust chilling fear into the hearts of our communities. The war on immigration is a lie and legally questionable at best. The fact of the matter, entering the United States illegally is a misdemeanor. Having an expired visa is a misdemeanor. The executive's actions are not equivalent to the crime, and in some instances, no crime. Admittedly, the administration has wrongly deported Kilmar Garcia, and we have evidence of others alike. Andre Hernandez, sending them to what amounts to a death sentence in a foreign gulag. I understand this fear. My last name is Hispanic, like I said. So is my son's. It's unthinkable that our government is doing this, and what's worse, we now know U.S. citizens. These heinous crimes are being carried out by ICE, and in some instances with the assistance of local law enforcement. As it is, St. Clair County Correctional Facility is an ICE detention, is it not? This brings me to my central point. Amira Oster, she's asthmatic. I'm asthmatic. Last year, I was in the ICU because the state cut off my insurance and I didn't have access to my maintenance medication. So I know all very well the absolute agony of not being able to breathe firsthand. ICE is and has refused her medication that allows her to breathe. Remember, 0 charges have been laid against her. Romero also has to petition for toiletries, sometimes for days. Are these the conditions in our facility? If so, it's unacceptable. I urge this council to consider this. The reckless nature of these abductions presents the inevitability innocent civilians are being detained and given less legal protection under these conditions. How can we continue to treat the incarcerated individuals in these inhumane conditions, knowing very well that there may be innocent victims of this administration's lawlessness? And for what, I ask? An article in the school newspaper speaking out in a protest? A misdemeanor? Unacceptable. We must not. And I urge the council to admonish this abhorrent behavior. I ask you this. If masked individuals in an unmarked vehicle entered your neighborhood and proceeded to take a friend, neighbor, family member, would you act accordingly? I know I would. And I know somebody eventually will. And that's when an innocent life will be hurt or worse. Political tensions are high and fear is the agenda of the day. And I do fear. I fear for the safety of my family and for every family that this administration has cast its eye upon. We spoke of legacy last meeting, chickens in our backyard. What legacy is this that we send our children citizens afar, with no representation, no due process, or that we now treat people guilty until proven innocent. Please consider this.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wishing to come before the Port Huron City Council?
Rachel Farquhar, 19th Ave. So I'm here again just to kind of re-advise what I've been touching on the last couple meetings. Backyard chickens are a smart, sustainable way for families to support themselves. With proper care, chickens don't smell, they are safely contained, and they are quieter than barking dogs or passing traffic. In fact, backyard flocks promote local food security, something especially important as more families face economic hardships. Chickens can live well on kitchen scraps and low-cost feed, helping households save money while reducing food waste. When managed responsibly, backyard chickens are an asset, not a nuisance. As far as odor is concerned, according to the University of California Agriculture and Natural Resources, the smell is preventable with basic maintenance. As far as roaming goes, according to Michigan State University Extension, chickens are more easily contained than cats and dogs. It was brought up on the Port Huron page that we shouldn't be focused on this because of homelessness. Well, that's a totally separate issue. And chickens, as noted by the Journal of Agricultural Food Systems and Community Development, urban chickens can support food security and local resilience, especially among the lower income families. It was mentioned last week that affordability could be an issue. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, chickens eat scraps and reduce grocery costs, and building a coop does not have to be that expensive. You can go out and get a nice designer coop for $400 or more, or you can just build a nice coop that will keep your chickens safe. And as far as noise go, it's been brought up a couple times. According to the University of Florida, IFAS extension, hens are quieter than the common neighborhood sounds, like cats, dogs, well not cats, but dogs and traffic. The concerns about backyard chickens from smell to noise are based on worst case scenarios, not reality. The truth is, with simple management, chickens are clean, quiet, and easy to contain. Allowing backyard flocks empowers families, supports local food systems, and helps strengthen communities. Let's move forward with facts, not fear, and embrace backyard chickens as a positive step forward towards sustainability and self-resilience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Curtis Carl, Port Huron Township. First off, I'd like to congratulate all you captains on scavenger hunt this summer. It's very exciting, honestly. Bring the community together. It's great. The canal, I was wondering if we could get the metal things pulled out of there before summer rolls around so the kayakers can do the loop. That'd be great. I thought it was supposed to get yanked out when we had floodwaters coming, but I don't know, was it 3 weeks ago where we had them heavy rains? There's videos of the water that just poured right over it. The gates were not pulled like they were supposed to relieve the pressure from the Black River and allow the water to go to the lake. It still went there anyways. It didn't really care. Riding our bikes back here, just wondering if we're going to fix the sidewalk or whatever's going on behind the Poo Palace here. It's blocked off, can't get wheelchairs or anything through there. You got to go up, over, and down, which I can do on a bicycle, but if you're in a wheelchair and it's not motorized, you'd have to have somebody with you. We're looking for updates at all the council meetings here on where we're at going to the state level with the Justice for Josh ordinance and taking it up to the state. So if you guys can let us know where we're at, then we can get the community to rally around that. It's very important that you communicate that back to us. On the roads, I'm going to say something more about them. I'm not really looking forward to driving on them all summer. Water Street, I get it, we patched it, but the patches are, you just throw the patch in there, you run over it, and then now we drive over the roads, and Water Street's just one of the big ones that I drive, but I think you get it, you know, they're patched, you fill the potholes, but it's not perfect. It's just a Band-Aid. And I know there's a plan for getting Water Street fixed, but it ain't gonna be this year. I did hear that through the grapevine. Doing the best you can, but maybe try to do a little more. And you guys should recognize Port Huron Prowlers for making the second part of the playoffs there. That was good. They've never made it to that level, so it's very exciting to watch some local hockey, and I also watch them when they're out of town, so it's something that we should encourage.
Okay, go Prowlers. Is there anyone else wishing? Come on.
Thank you.
Hi, Marcus Taylor, 3148 Gratiot Avenue. I'll be fast. I know a lot of people talking. I just wanted to start the conversation. If there is something that's been happening, stop me. And I know it's not a back and forth thing, but I just wondered if we are making any efforts to make sure that we know that our Canadian neighbors know that they're welcome here. I know that we did the wave flagging ceremony a little while back, but a lot of money comes in from across the border, and as things are right now, I know they're probably not super sure where we stand. I think that we should make some more efforts to let them know that they are welcome and wanted here. And we're talking about hockey. I know Silver Sticks is a huge money influx into this city. I mean, I've worked in a lot of the industries down, like downtown through here. I mean, you can't even walk in somewhere and get a table, not a chance. So I know a lot of the businesses that we have in this area probably really look forward to that time, and I'm afraid that when we come to that time, we're gonna see a massive drop-off, and I don't think people's pockets are ready for that. So I think if we make a good concerted effort to let them know that we want them here, that we will maybe avoid that, and I'd like to maybe see some efforts, and I'd happily join those efforts to let people know Port Huron is a good place for everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mark Sanderson, Fort Gratiot. I got a question for you that I've been thinking about it for a month now. On 3/24/25 there at the meeting, the mayor tried to appoint a planning commissioner. Her name was Leslie Bender-Jetsy, and everybody was against it except for Councilmember Payton. And I was just wondering, like, why was everybody against her becoming planning commissioner? I've asked a few people, nobody had any answers for me. She seemed like she was more qualified, and I even heard mentions that you had 3 other applicants, as far as, and one was a certified commissioner, and I actually looked it up after we left. State of Michigan, you don't even have to be a certified commissioner. I don't even know what makes you certified as commissioner. So anyways, I was just curious, like, what was the reasons why everybody voted it down?
Well, Mark, we can't go back and forth. You have to get them offline to ask that.
So just call you to ask, or?
No, you call whoever,
Or call
any of the council members.
individual?
Yeah, I was a yes vote.
Okay,
Okay.
that's all I have.
But thank you for bringing it to our attention.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Seth Carwin, and I live at 1224 Pine Street. Been here in Port Huron for 20 years, over 20 years. I have health issues, and so when I wanted to have eggs where I could control what went into those eggs, I ended up purchasing property outside of Port Huron so I could raise my own chickens. I would love to be able to have chickens here in the city. I would love not to have to drive every single day out to my property to take care of my chickens who keep me in good health. I can attest that the hens are quiet, they're easy to manage. The scare tactics that I hear with people saying that they're gonna cause disease, and noise issues are unfounded. For the most part, you're always going to have bad actors, but you have bad actors, people that can't even take care of the dogs that are allowed and don't take care of their animals. But people that are diligently trying to take care of their families and their food needs and their health needs, they are going to be some of the most outstanding carers of chickens. So I would like to encourage you to vote for allowing us to have chickens in our backyard. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else wish to come before the council?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pauline Foster. I live at 2609 Walnut. I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but my street is horrible. And over by the hospital, I think it's Richardson, that's terrible. I see you fixing some streets over there. And another thing, when I walked in here, your sewage plant is still smelling. It smells like an outhouse out there. I don't know what you're doing, but you're supposed to see about fixing that, but it's not working. And another thing, I just wondered if like electrified bikes are allowed on the boardwalk because you see some people with electric bikes coming down there with their motors on, they're going at a good speed and people are walking on the boardwalk. And one night late, they got these little scooters electric scooters going up and down the boardwalk. And one night I was down there fishing one night late, and here comes a moped down the boardwalk, motorized, speeding down the boardwalk. So I don't know if that's allowed, but that's it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to come before the council?
Hi, my name is Savannah Potter, and I live at 1071 Sterling Place, Port Huron, Michigan. I'm a very nervous public speaker, so.
You're okay.
With that. Ordinance 25-002, chickens in the backyard. I am looking to purchase my first home this year, and I'm not looking in Port Huron because of this ordinance. I don't know if that had been something that you guys had ever considered before. My daughter and I love our chickens, honestly. We had pets before, and we think it's really important. It's something that we'd really like that you guys would consider saying yes. You have great power, comes great responsibility, right? You have a voice to make a very big difference. I do agree with people who have said that dogs can be, a little bit on the rougher side. I don't think chickens are going to have the issues that maybe people are saying that they will. I think with the right rules and regulations that you guys would need to put down, I think that can be a very successful and very helpful for the community. And I encourage you to vote yes. Do you have anything? Would you like them to vote yes?
I love chickens for pets. They're so cute and so snuggly.
All right, I think we'll end it.
Gotcha. Is there anyone else? Boy.
Holden Goff here, 11th Ave. I'm also talking about chickens, so bear with me. I'm asking you to just take a moment and really think about what we're comparing here. Backyard chickens under our ordinance would each get over 12 square feet of outdoor room to roam, with sunlight, space to dust bathe, and stretch their wings. That's over 10 times the space that most cage-free commercial hens receive, and those birds live in industrial barns by the tens of thousands. Michigan's cage-free egg law is already in effect, and while it sounds progressive, it doesn't require outdoor access. Hens still live indoors, shoulder to shoulder, in conditions that feel far from humane. The term cage-free sounds nice, but backyard grown is real and tangible. It means fresh air, natural behaviors, and room to move, something a backyard in our city would guarantee far better than most egg-producing facilities ever will. I understand there's concern about how allowing chickens might affect the image of our city, as if chickens are somehow less than what a city should represent. But I'd argue the opposite. Cities across the country, Seattle, Minneapolis, Denver, Orlando, all allow backyard hens. They don't look messy or unkempt because they've set smart guidelines, just like we're looking to do here. It's not about looking like a farm, it's about looking like a city that values sustainability, responsible food systems, and local control. And on the topic of smell, a well-maintained coop with 5 hens smells far less than one huge dog run. Chickens don't smell inherently. Neglect smells. Neglect stinks. Our ordinance limits flock size, encourages setbacks, and naturally encourages cleanliness by keeping flocks small and manageable. You're far more likely to smell fast food wrappers in a roadside ditch than 5 hens in a clean coop. This ordinance isn't careless or excessive. It's more humane than the standards now legally required across the state. These aren't loud roosters or nuisance flocks. It's 5 hens peacefully scratching around in a modest run with protection for both the animals and neighbors. And while we talk often, rightfully, about population decline here in the city, let's ask more forward-looking questions. Does something like this bring people here? Yes, it does. You're seeing a lot of that tonight. It signals to families, urban gardeners, and sustainability-minded residents like myself that we're welcome here. It shows we're not stuck in the past, we're investing in livability, and in a small way, it invites the kind of community that cares about where their food comes from and how animals are treated. Young professionals really value these sorts of things, and frankly, Mayor Ashford, not a slight at you, but I was really perturbed by what you had said at the last meeting, that it seems like this ordinance is almost abusive towards chickens. Because if you've looked at any sort of documentaries about just commercial farming and factory farming, you could see the type of neglect, actual like farm-raised chickens in these huge pole barns. Broken legs, illness, flu, hundreds of millions of chickens killed by avian flu this year. Backyard chickens is the way to go. It's the way of the future, and that's what the people here want. If your concern is the welfare of our animals or the character of our city, I urge you to reconsider. These birds would live better lives in backyards here than 99% of hens raised for eggs in the US. It's okay to feel protective, but it's also okay to acknowledge that this ordinance is thoughtful, balanced, and kind. What we risk by saying no isn't smell or reputation, it's the opportunity to do better by our chickens right here at home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Farquhar, 19th Avenue. If I presented a program to you that was educational, presented some nutritional value, was sustainable for your home, was ethical, built a sense of community, and was environmentally friendly, would you tell me no? Just as a question, because that's chickens in the backyard. And I know, Mayor Ashford, you were concerned about the smell and whatnot, but as Mr. Carl likes to call it, I watched the last meeting, and one of your concerns was the smell, and you said you wouldn't like to live next to somebody that has a chicken coop in their backyard. I watched it plain as day. It's on YouTube. I'll gladly send you an email of a snippet of it. But we have the poo-poo factory, or as I like to call it, the fart factory, because that's where I think all fart smells come from. And we can smell that anytime we get a west blowing wind. If we got an east wind, we smell all the fertilizers that are sprayed out on all of our food, which is actually just sewage from different places around, and that's the smell of poop. Actually, what was it? Today is Monday, so it would have been I think Saturday morning, I came out about 7 in the morning, and the smell in my neighborhood was nauseating. And it was from them spraying fertilizers in the fields. So, in newsflash, at the end of the day, I've had numerous people reach out to me, but we already have chickens in the city of Port Huron. You're not gonna get invaded by the chickens of the city of Port Huron. How many complaints have you had right now? Just wondering, like, Mr. Freed, I know you can know back and forth, but do we have a exuberant amount of people being, you know, having their flocks removed or anything like that because neighbors are calling right now? Because they're in and around the city. They're in all parts of the city. Okay? I'm gonna skip past that and on to Mr. Freed. I see you're appointing Mr. Heilig to the Housing Commission. That's a great appointment. I got to know Mr. Heilig through the election and whatnot, and it started as an opponent and became a friend, and I think he's a wonderful asset to bring on the team, so well done. I mean, there, and anybody else that supported that, great job. I would have liked to see more support for Dr. Bender when she did her deal up here. I understand the reservations, and I somewhat understand why, but you guys really passed up like a pick at pretty much, you know, I don't know, you passed up a Patrick Mahomes type deal situation. You had a great pick in the draft, and you really fumbled the football there. My next question is what's up with these city mailing errors? And I know I received the other day a notice for a May 5th building appeals hearing or whatnot that's going on for a house that's going on Court Street. I assume those were supposed to be sent to the people that live on 19th Street and not all the people that sent on 19th Avenue. Much less my house alone received 3. So at the mailing rate, that's, you know, let's call it $1.35 or whatever that you guys paid to send 3 notices to my house that really don't concern me. But now I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna support them. And I'm gonna hope that you guys let whatever they wanna do actually happen, because it sounds like they're really getting the shaft at the end of the day from the city. So thanks again, and I encourage everybody else that doesn't know about that meeting to come out and support somebody just trying to better their home.
Thank you so much, Ms. Parker.
Hello, Council. Hello, Mayor. Congratulations, by the way. My name is B. Williams, 15th Street. I know dialogue and tone and respect is a majority of everything, so I'm gonna keep that in mind while I'm speaking tonight. I'm gonna say this first because I want to make it a blanket statement and put it on everybody. But because I have met some exceptional and wonderful officers in the Port Huron Police Department, but I'm here tonight to question why we do not have any type of police oversight or some type of board to oversee these police officers. From my own experience, this police has made it a procedure or a practice to retaliate against citizens. And there's nobody we can go tell them we let these people these department investigate themselves. And there's nobody you can go to. You know, only thing I can think of, and every time we let them investigate themselves, they find themselves innocent of any wrongdoing. You know, how many civilians do we have to have to lose their lives? How many of our friends and neighbors have to lose their lives for we to understand that these people need some type of oversight? How many of us in this room could punch a man old enough to be our grandfather and get minimum consequences? How many of us have had our rights trampled on, again, and let this department investigate themselves? And of course, we did nothing wrong. We investigated ourselves.
Good question.
I'm not asking for any preferential treatment.
Please, let's keep it down.
I'm not asking for any, yes ma'am, thank you. I'm not asking for any preferential treatment. The only thing I ask for is to be unbiased. But again, I want to get back to the retaliation part. Retaliation comes in many different forms. You know, as far as trying to make a complaint on in this department, because again, they investigate themselves. So when you go try to make this complaint on these guys, what happens is they go back and forth, or whatever happens. I don't know what they do because I'm not sitting right next to them. But I know what happens afterwards. I know that there's a possibility of anything can happen. Let's just, you have never had any issues before in life, and all of a sudden you get a search warrant ran on your house days later. You know, that's one form of retaliation. You know another form of retaliation? Inaction. Imagine making reports to the police department for over 2.5 years, turning in this much paperwork, and you are not even given a courtesy follow-up call, you know? And then the discourtesy is so rampant through this department that the cadets have been emboldened to let the citizens know that they don't matter, to the point where they can hang up the phone on you. You know, and it's not a one-time thing, it's like a regular thing, and it's like a constant. Cause I've been hung up on the phone by lieutenants, I've been hung up on the phone by cadets, and even though I'm informed, I'm a property tax-paying citizen, they informed me, especially Port Huron Department has shown me that paying property taxes means absolutely nothing. I don't think I should get any, again, preferential treatment, but it should be unbiased and equal treatment. I can't get it, I don't know what's going on. I do know what retaliation is. I just had been followed around 4 corners by a police officer, and I had to get out and ask this officer, I don't know if you're looking for me or not, but this feels like terrorism. I don't know if you know what terrorism is, but this is what it feels like. I don't want to mention the officer or anything like that, because I feel like he was a younger guy, and I feel like it was more productive for us to communicate, and we had a productive conversation after that. The other thing is, and I'm not making any personal attacks on anybody, I know we got a short-term memory as a community sometimes. When we make a complaint and it doesn't go to the proper people again, because the captain or the chief is the internal affairs, my next thought is we're supposed to follow a chain of command. My next thing I would do is go to the city manager and make a complaint with him, right? But this city manager has shown that he doesn't care.
Hold. Your time is up. But if you don't say anything else, but we're gonna follow up with you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So you just take a seat, and I'll see you after the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. All right. Is there anyone else wishing to address the Port Huron City Council? Okay, seeing and hearing none, it's closed. We will continue with our agenda. Clerk? Consent agenda, please.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll start over. You can take me last.
I answered, but I was wondering.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes.
Excuse me, we voted, but we didn't have a motion.
Motion.
For the consent
No,
agenda.
second. Oh, yeah, a motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Archibald, and supported by Jeff Pemberton. Okay, Councilmember. Okay, and the motion was carried. Okay, take it easy, we all cool up here. All right. So, okay, the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda from the city manager, we have one, is received and filed notification that Jason Heilig has been appointed by the city manager to the Port Huron Housing Commission to fill a vacancy that expires on June the 30th, 2028. Under resolutions, receiving the proposed capital improvement program and scheduling a public hearing for May 12, 2025 to hear public comments from interested citizens on the proposed capital improvement program. Number 5, receiving the proposed 2025-26 Downtown Development Authority budget and scheduling a public hearing for May the 12th. May the 12th to hear public comments from the interested citizens on the proposed budget. Number 6, resolution approving the qualified license establishment Helen David Enterprises LLC, 410 Huron Avenue, into the Port Huron Social District and recommending applicants be approved by the Michigan Liquor Control Commission pending approval of the expanded social district boundaries. Resolution number 7, recognizing Blue Water Developmental Housing and Company as a nonprofit organization in the city of Port Huron. Resolution number 8, approving the appointment of Jeffrey Gushman to the Beautification Commission to fill a vacancy with a term to expire January 30th, 2028. That is your consent agenda, and we will return to resume under resolutions.
Approving the contract with the Michigan Department of Transportation for the reconstruction of Lapeer Avenue from 16th Street to 24th Street.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Support.
It's been moved by Councilmember Mosrak and supported by Councilmember Pemberton. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor, if I could.
Yes?
This is to reconstruct a half a mile of roadway. This is also including the utilities as well. Substantial contribution from MDOT. This is part of it through federal aid. Almost $1.1 million in federal aid coming to this project. There will be a road diet, moving that from 4 lanes to 3 lanes. Walkability there is a real issue. So if you look at the sidewalk down Lapeer, it's banked at such a grade it does not meet ADA accessibility. So we have worked with the property owners to gain the proper easements necessary to reconstruct the sidewalks and the ramps so that they meet ADA standards, including the slope ratio. We anticipate that the bid letting will be May 2nd. Construction start June or July with substantial completion in November.
Oh, okay. And I understand, did you speak to the community also?
Yes, we held a community roundtable to get their input on the road diet and the sidewalk designs.
Oh, okay, thank you. Any more discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Resolution number 2.
Authorizing the submission of a grant request to the Michigan Health Endowment Fund's Nutrition and Healthy Lifestyle Grant Program for engineering and design costs to create a plan for access within Lincoln Park to the waterfront, recreational areas, and connections to the existing Bridge to Bay Regional Trail and surrounding neighborhoods.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Archibald.
Support.
Supported by Councilmember Mosrak. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor and Council. Madam Mayor and Council, this grant is coming from the Neighborhood Improvement Authority that we recently established. This is some of the work they've been doing. This will help design, this will provide the design and engineering work for non-motorized walkways through Lincoln Park and also to get an ADA accessible walkway to the Lincoln Park lookout on the water. I think it was brought up here at this meeting a couple times as well.
Okay. So most of this will be taking place right on the waterfront itself? for
And within the park.
accessibility?
And within the park.
And the park?
Yep.
To coming across?
Yep, so this will cover engineering and design work. Construction costs would not be covered. We'd have to go for a full MDNR grant for that.
Oh, okay.
So this is kind of phase 1 of the project, and then phase 2 is going to the MDNR grant.
Oh, okay.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
James, I'm curious, will this be, do you remember off the top of your head, will this be crossing Military Street from the park over to the waterfront?
Yes.
Because I just find it a good opportunity for some of the development that's going on there. That might be a nice crossing for that situation too, to get people across the street safe for that too, so.
Correct.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a good point, Councilmember Mosrak, with the development that enhance that whole area. And actually, that's what the NID is supposed to do, make those connections.
Yep.
To bring that neighborhood up. Any more discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes, motion carried. Resolution number 3.
Receiving the proposed 2025-2026 budget and scheduling a public hearing for May 12, 2025 to hear public comments from interested citizens on the proposed budget.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Mosrak, supported by Councilmember Pemberton. On the discussion, we will hear a brief presentation coming from our city manager.
I will try to keep it very brief. Madam Mayor and Council, thank you for the opportunity. I have one major constitutional and charter obligation, and that's to provide you a balanced operating budget for the council to consider. The budget I propose to you tonight is just shy of $144 million total operating budget. This pie chart here really breaks out where the scope of our services and the services we deliver to our citizens. The general fund makes about 24% of our overall operating budget. The general fund encompasses police and fire and parks and recreation. The wastewater fund is actually our largest operating fund at just shy of $39 million, followed up by the water fund at $16.8 million. Noteworthy, we are a population of just under 30,000 people, but we serve safe drinking water to almost 60,000 families, 60,000 people within the townships and within the city. So we are the regional supplier for safe drinking water and wastewater. The general fund, which is the fund that directly touches the lives of most citizens on a daily basis, represents just shy of $35 million. The revenue here, property taxes are our largest revenue generator, followed by income taxes, and then state shared revenue. On average, our revenue in the general fund goes up about 2.5, maybe 3% in a good year. So between 2 and 3%, the general fund revenue goes up. The reason why that is important is we just can't raise taxes. And so all the budgetary constraints and challenges that are at the kitchen tables for moms and dads all across the city are the same budgetary pressures we're feeling as well. Consumatory prices going up, utility costs going up, electricity costs going up. Everything we buy, from gasoline for the patrol cars, the fire trucks themselves, a fire truck that used to cost about $500,000 3 years ago is now north of $1 million today. And so we are forced to deliver services within these realities of the economy and the budget constraints. We are not immune. Just because we're local government operations doesn't mean we don't feel the same pressures that every mom or dad and household feels in our city. Looking at where the general fund goes, what's really important about the general fund is about 70% of the general fund expenses are wages. So it's really a people and service-oriented fund, specifically police and fire and parks and recreation as well in our public works department. And that shows you where your general fund tax dollars are going. There is some capital outlay in there. You see a very small debt service there of $570 a year. That is for the fire station. McMorrin's also in there as well at $550. That gives you just kind of a holistic where does my money go. That pie chart gives you some nice data visualization. Breaking that down into percentages, if you really want to take it down to not just dollar amounts but percentages, you can break it down there. That police are 37%, fire is 21%, general government is 14%, parks and recreation is 13%. So some of the challenges we've had, it's been a very difficult budget year. I have made now 11 budgets for the city of Port Huron. Besides the 2016 and 2017 budget, this was the most difficult budget I had to develop. We overcame a multi-million dollar projected deficit. And the driving force behind that are things out of our control. We had to raise our fringe rate, which means for every dollar we pay an employee, there's fringe benefit cost. From 70% to 80%, that's an increase in cost of $1.2 million. And the reason for that is because of the market conditions and people are living longer, our pension system costs continue to rise at 1.7 in the next year, $2.5 million next year, 3.3 in the year after that. Shockingly, our healthcare costs alone last year rose by 17%. Last year alone. We project those healthcare costs to rise again by another 5% in 2026. Between all of that, it's about a $2 million increase that we had to absorb into our budget. Additionally, we provided wages to our general fund employees over the last 4 years that totaled compounded about 24%. So our raises were 4%, 5%, 5%, 4%. Well, we had to assume those additional costs when only getting about 2.5 to 3% in new revenue in the general fund. The reason why we had to increase those wages is because we were not competitive for police and fire. It's very difficult to obtain talent. Even for our public works jobs, we can't get folks with CDLs. Those type of marketable skills are in high demand right now. So the budget I have before you, we had to go through every single line item we have. We did a zero-based approach. Just because we historically spent money doesn't mean we're going to spend money this year. So we had to cut back a little bit, but I think we were able to trim trim the budget in such a way that the frontline services to the residents will not be noticed. The average citizen will not notice the budget reductions we had to take. And in your budget I provided with you, there's a column that shows you the reductions I made across the budget. It's about more than $1 million. Capital investments. We still have to continue to maintain our assets, the crumbling streets, that every city has a challenge with. Here's what we're doing. Next year, we are going to do a total of about $11.6 million in capital improvement funds. There's projects that are currently in the works that'll be paid out this budget year, the carryover projects, but also some new projects. So Lapeer Ave, Elmwood to Stone Gratiot, Water Street, 10th Street to the Black River and the 10th Street intersection at Lapeer. I mean, that's some of the worst roadway in the city. I think we dumped about 4 million tons of cold patch on it. But now we need to repair it. And so there will be repairs made to 10th Street. There'll be repairs made to Water Street this year. And then you have the water and wastewater. One of the big things that's important, and it kind of doesn't get the headlines, but again, the lead line service replacements. We're putting over $500,000 in to get lead service lines out of residential homes. And we'll continue to do that for the next several years before we eradicate all the lead service lines within the city. Funding sources, where's this money coming from? The street millage funds a significant amount of the overlay work. So the street millage is going to generate about $3 million this year. We'll use that for overlays throughout the city, doing about 4 to 5 miles of overlaying throughout the city. We'll be using the Water Street TIF account to address Water Street intersection, perhaps from the 10th Street intersection as well. MDOTs and also sidewalk projects. The water treatment plant. It takes a lot to deliver safe drinking water and to make sure we can continue to have the capacity to do that. These are the list of the capital projects that are going on within our water treatment plants. $5 million next year. You replace the water valves, no one really notices it. The main switchgear replacement is $2.8 million. You replace that, no one notices it. Still a lot of money. So when you pay your water and sewer bill and you think, where's all this money going? You can download the list right here. Our wastewater plant, again, about $20 million in the near future. The odor control system, $6 million. The wastewater plant does smell. Today's one of them. We're doing our best to remediate the best we can, but the truth is we need to do carbon filters. And that's what that project is. And we're in the design now, the testing and design phase right now. The goal is to begin construction on that project in the next year, completion within 24 months. That will solve the odor control issue. This is a tested and proven method. It's more expensive, but I'd rather pay a little bit more to get it done right than to be in our current situation for much longer. Then there's also the collection. We have hundreds and hundreds of miles of sewer lines underneath the ground. The pumping stations, they have to be repaired and maintained. So again, about $22 million in the collection system, combine that with the plant. So again, $144 million budget. It is balanced. It is balanced without raising taxes. It is balanced without dramatic cuts to public safety, staffing levels. We did have to cut some of the recreation programming, trim back some of those programs that were underutilized. One of the things we have as well, we've met with our townships to talk about possible revenue enhancements to help bring back some of those programs. But again, this is one of the most difficult budgets I had to make. But we face the same realities every family in the city faces when facing with rising costs, rising utility costs, rising consumatory costs, and then the balanced budget. I will say the investment in our people is key. I make no apologies about providing wage raises for our police and fire and public works people. They do an excellent job. They're skilled, and they can go find other jobs. And in this type of labor market, it's very competitive. And we don't have the pension system anymore, so there's no golden handcuffs keeping them here. They can leave and take their stuff and go on to another job. And so we want to make sure we keep good people. We have amazing police officers and firefighters. They have a very difficult job, but we keep the best of the best. Our police officers and firefighters are some of the best in the industry, and we often keep a position open because we refuse to lower the standards of excellence within those departments. And so we may have 1 or 2 or 3 police officer positions open or firefighter positions open at a time because we will not accept subpar talent. And so we pay well, we expect good people, and we will hold on until we get those good people. Any questions for me?
Yeah, any questions? Yeah, James, under the funding sources, you got under grants, I don't know what's wrong with this thing, but under grants, is that assured or anything?
Yes.
It is assured?
Yeah, those are committed grant funds.
So nothing is coming from federal, so no?
A lot of the street funding is coming from federal grants. We use the Scott's program to get some local funding for like Lapeer is considered a federal program, but yes, a lot of it's federal grants.
Okay.
But those are committed through DOT already.
Oh, it's already went through that?
I don't see a risk of what the current administration is doing to the funds that we've already allocated.
Oh, okay.
That's what you're asking.
And so to balance this budget, and I see all the pie charts, fire and police don't move at all, so all the other pieces, slices of the cake, that's where you're squeezing.
No, I cut almost $1 million out of operations. I cut about $400,000 out of police, and I cut about $300,000 out of fire. Now, we're not, the thing about government is government continuously grows. So you're trying to cut the growth of government, the rate at which government grows. And so a lot of that was restructuring of administrative and command staffing.
Yeah, yeah, and I get that, because, you know, you cut today, but you suffer tomorrow.
I don't believe the way we cut
I
this
mean,
one. Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Yes, we made very
hypothetically,
strategic.
that's where you would end up.
We made very strategic reductions in this budget that wouldn't affect operations the best. It would ensure safety and the reliable services our citizens have come to expect.
Oh, okay, so the cuts were just clean cuts, like, that's why you had
Yeah.
the litany on the recreation.
Yeah, if you look at my budget was reduced significantly. I don't have an assistant anymore. I laid that person off. I no longer have an office assistant. I now will pick up my own phone, which is good. But there's a lot of reductions like that we've made throughout the budget.
Yeah, well, we could chisel it, it doesn't mean that the pyramid's gonna fall.
Nope.
Okay.
No, you know, here's the thing. You look at national headlines of the DOGE and the cutting of federal government. I firmly believe that the most efficient form of government is local government, because the fact is it's most accountable to the people. The folks here can download a line item budget and go through and find out what, you know, how much money I'm paying for staples in my office and what I make and what everyone else is doing. It's not like the federal government where we don't really see that. It's hard to go audit your congressman's office or anything like that. And so local government is very service oriented. There's not a lot of waste, fraud, or abuse. And I tell folks, get a line item budget and do what I had to do. Go through that line item budget and find out what you would cut and what other alternatives you would cut. And for every program you cut, there's a group of people who utilize that program, who need that program. And there's a lot of things that you have to consider. So these were strategic in nature. This was a corrected budget, meaning these cuts are for the long-term savings. These are not one-year off savings. These are permanent savings factored in the budget going forward.
Okay.
One of my concerns is we have wages budgeted at 2%. However, we have not finished collective bargaining yet. So we still have 6 unions that we're negotiating with that could have budgetary effects on this budget you are adopting. So it's kind of wild. You're making a budget for labor contracts you haven't yet settled yet. And we're in the heat of union negotiations right now. I hope to have those settled pretty quickly. I think we're going to TA some stuff this week with some people to get some finality into those.
Okay.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes.
Just so that the public knows too, we have a meeting set up on the 13th, I think it is, to
Yes.
go over this in great detail. So if anyone has any concerns, reach out to us.
Yeah, and don't just wait till then. If you're someone in the city, download the budget. It's in the column. It actually shows reductions, and it looks a little bit more complicated. Take it one page at all. I actually have, if you're a city resident and you want to go over your budget, you can set up an appointment with me, and I'll take a half hour and kind of walk you through the budget and go through the columns with you. If you're that into it, I can. You know, this is kind of like the nerd thing. Like, we make this budget, and not a lot of people. This is a lot of work. The finance department did an excellent job. Lee and Bobby Seppo does an amazing job on a lot of the back end heavy lifting she does. This took months to put together. We've been working on this since October. So we kind of like to show off our budget. So if you are a citizen who would like to know more about your budget, you can schedule a meeting in my office, and I will sit down with you for a half hour or so and go over the budget with you and answer any questions. In the reductions lines, if you have questions about those, you can call me. My direct line, which you will get me picking up, is 810-984-9740. And I get paid to take your calls. So don't wait until the budget hearing. Don't wait. Let it fester. If you got an itch that needs to be answered, I can do that for you. Because at the end of the day, this is their money. These are their public services, and I want to make sure we get all the information out there as possible.
Okay, hearing and seeing that, well, thank you.
We will upload that to porthuron.org/open-government tomorrow morning.
Madam Mayor?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, one question. Just a couple items that were touched on there that was also in the public comment. So about the waste management plant, that's $6 million.
Yeah.
Can you just talk through that a little? I know you said the timing, but talk through that a little bit.
They're through engineering and design right now. They're going through and confirming the test results. So you want to test what your load is for ammonia levels to make sure that whatever you design properly eradicates that level to eliminate the smell. When you're spending, this is going to be a total project of about $8 million. And so we want to make sure we get it right, because we've learned that the last system was not designed right, and we avoided a lawsuit by settling that case and got several $1 million back because we held that contractor accountable. But what we sacrificed was time and having to put up with it. And so we want to make sure that we get this right. So we have to go through and do this again in 3 more years. We want to solve the problem. And so I appreciate the public criticism. I hear it every 2 weeks here. But we're going to make sure we do it right and take our time, make sure the testing is right. Because if you put bad data in, you get bad data out. And so we got to get it right. They're in the process right now. We'll get the construction going this year. It will take about 24 months to complete. In the near term, the wastewater plant has done if you talk to anyone who works or lives downtown, the wastewater odor control has gotten remarkably better in the last year. We've developed in-house remediation efforts to pull some of the ammonia out. We've been closing doors on certain weather events, so if it's a high dew point or a windy day, we'll close the hatch doors and button down the system to remediate the odor the best we can. I can't explain just how much effort the staff over at the wastewater plant has been doing to remediate the best they possibly can, given what they're forced to work with. And so they've done an amazing job over there, and it has gotten significantly better.
No, one more question or comment also that ties in is the canal. How much of the budget is built for the canal? And basically, the numbers that were talked about before, 5-6 million, it's obviously not in that budget. We don't have it. We're just an update where we are with the state and federal on that.
So we have did a congressional appropriations request through the House. We're going to bring another one to you for the Senate. We've done one for the U.S. House, U.S. Senate. We have a budget request already in through the Michigan legislature. We're $6.2 million request of a $4 billion request all across the state of Michigan. $4 billion in earmarks were requested. So it's going to be a Hail Mary attempt to get funding. So right now there is that project on hold until funding is allocated. The Coffer Dam is working as designed. The dam was designed for a 50 and 100-year flood. So reasonable spring rains will flow over that level. They set that grade of the Coffer Dam where normal flows will flow over it. Should we have a 100 or 50-year flood in which they need to pull those gates to allow for more volume, we can do that. So it's working as designed, as it's supposed to perform. There was no mistake made. I have to overcome that ignorant comment. And but we just have to, it's on hold until we get funding.
Okay. Appreciate the update.
We all set? Okay. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. City manager. Okay, we'll call the roll call now.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrek?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Ordinances?
Second reading and enactment. An ordinance to amend Chapter 8 Animals of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances for the purpose of adding Article 4, an article to allow the keeping of chickens.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Pemberton and second by
Second.
Councilmember Haremza. Any discussion?
Mayor Ashford?
I'll
start.
Mayor Pro Tem?
First, I'd like to say thank you to everyone. After 2 weeks ago when we talked about, we want to hear feedback. I really appreciate those for and against, didn't matter either way, but I really appreciate all of the people that reached out to all of us council members, some to all of us, some to one or two of us individually. However it was done, it was really nice to get that resident feedback and to hear from you. Second, I've learned more about chickens than I ever wanted to know, or ever thought I would know. It's a hard decision and a very hard discussion to have. There's so much goes into this, and it's no secret that I have not ever been for chickens in the city of Port Huron. However, I did feel that it had gotten to the point with our current inflation and everything that's going on that it warranted a discussion. So I'm happy that it was brought forward. We were able to have that discussion. I've weighed this back and forth and hemmed and hawed and thought at great length. But it really resonated with you, Mayor Ashford, and some of what you said at the last council meeting, but mostly it was what you said the next morning on the Paul Miller show. So speaking with Paul Miller, Mayor Ashford talked at great length and in great detail about her concerns and about some concerns that really resonated with me. And are we pitting neighbors against neighbors and further dividing and segregating our community? The other thing that resonated with me, which I wholeheartedly agree, a discussion is great, but I feel like this almost bypassed council. It's moved very, very quickly.
Many of our residents don't even realize it's happening. And council never really had, except for when it came before us sitting up here, we've not had a meeting to really talk about it, to hash it out, to talk about, is this ordinance exactly what we want? Is it strong enough in this area or that area? We were able to respond to James, but we didn't sit in a room and have a discussion, which I really, really would have liked us to be able to do. So for me, I don't think this discussion is dead, but I don't feel that I can support it at this time. I have to side with the mayor on this one and go along with her to think. I just don't think we're ready yet. I don't think we've had enough discussion. I think we need to do a little bit more homework before we adopt something like this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy
Madam Mayor?
Ashford, if I may. Go ahead, Bob.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, thank you. I would just like to kind of piggyback off what Mayor Pro Tem Archibald said, and I do appreciate dozens and dozens of emails and calls, and it was not, the main reason that I said yes in the first reading was to give myself a couple weeks to research this field phone calls, read emails and figure out where everybody was at. I agree with Mayor Pro Tem. I think Mayor Ashford did a great job on Paul Miller explaining her concerns with it, which became my concerns. And I'll tell you, after the radio show on that Tuesday morning, I received several calls after that complimenting her on that. She made an analogy, and I know it was just an analogy, but we understand the cost of eggs are up, the cost of everything is up right now, but if the cost of milk goes up, are the residents of the city going to want cows in their backyard? Where do we start? Where do we stop? So at this point in time, I did do some research, made some calls back to people that did call me on both sides of it, and I will not be supporting this ordinance either at this time. And again, it's not a dead issue with me either. I would just like more time to go over it and before we implement something like this. So that's where I stand. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor Ashford.
Thank you.
Mayor Ashford?
Councilman.
Actually, I was next.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I would first like to say, I think it's absurd to think that people are going to want to have cows in their backyards in the city. Secondly, I would also like to say that we've forgotten who we work for. It's the residents. We received 27 emails in favor of this. We received 10 emails opposed to this, 27 in favor, 10 opposed that I received along with other council members. Also, the fact that we are also so concerned about things that may happen, why don't we actually follow what the citizens want us to do? The public comment shows that the majority of people want this in the city. We are here to serve the public, not our own perception, our own feelings about this matter. So I suppose it's similar, because I don't have a child, that is there ever a time that you're really ready? You find out along the way what things you need to adapt to. So I think that we should give the citizens what they are asking for. We will have problems along the way with this, but we will also remedy those problems as we go. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Pemberton.
Thank you. I also appreciated the amount of feedback that we got after Mayor Pro Tem Archibald asked for that feedback. This issue reminds me of the marijuana issue. It brings, I don't think I've seen people as passionate about anything since the marijuana stuff. I am in full support of the chicken ordinance. I think it was really well written. I think it was really well done, and the in-depth research by Mr. Shouty was appreciated. I agree, again, just, costs aside, I feel the cost. Our house goes through almost a dozen eggs a morning, so I get it. Even that aside, I think for me it's a personal liberty thing. I strongly support our ability to be self-sustaining. I think as a society we're in a place where, I know a fraction about where my food comes from compared to my parents, and even less than my grandparents. I talked to my mother-in-law who could can, and things like that. We're so disconnected, and as we learned a few years back in COVID, in a very fragile supply chain for food. And so I think over the years we've talked about things where we've talked about the grocery store on the south end has been such a hard thing to get off the ground. Food security has been championed by more than one individual, along with Julian. and multiple folks that have come here and multiple organizations that have come to us in trying to, what could organizations do to help, address food insecurity and things like that. And to me, backyard chickens, while I have zero desire to raise my own chickens, it makes sense. I think the way the ordinance was written, it does give, it essentially addresses the concern. So when I looked at all the concerns that were brought to me from folks, the concerns are addressed by the ordinance. And so I took that and kind of weighed it against, all of the evidence that's in support of chickens. I think, there are, HOA, homeowners associations that will have rules against chickens and things like that they can do, and that will help mitigate a lot of personal neighborhood, things. But ultimately, my hope is, I'm encouraged to hear, a couple of our council members who said they're against that this issue isn't dead. If it doesn't pass tonight, I believe my understanding is it can come back with modifications. You just can't come back in the exact same form. So my hope is that it will come back and that we can figure out a way to get it passable if it can't pass tonight. But it does have my full support, and I'll be voting yes tonight.
Anybody else?
Mayor Ashford? I'm sorry. I just had one more if I could add real quick, if I may, please. I agree with Councilmember Payton that give the people what they want, but out of the emails, I got the same emails quite a bit more than those, and they were more equally balanced, but I did receive 14 personal phone calls of citizens against this. So that's what I had to consider. So I am feeling like I'm doing my job, and I had more against the ordinance than for it. So that's where I stand. So that's kind of what helped me make my decision as well also. So thank you.
Councilmember Mojai. Councilmember Brown.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I'd like to weigh in as well. I guess the last one to weigh in, but kind of going back to a few of the comments here. One, yes, I did like you asking for feedback, and I definitely got feedback, and it was probably 3-1 for. And I think kind of what Councilman Pemberton was mentioning too, if we just were going, hey, with no restrictions, roosters everywhere, everything, then that would be one thing. But I think how it was worded, I think it's a pretty educated approach as far as containment. It doesn't mean we roll this out and 6 months from now, we analyze how many complaints, and oh yeah, by the way, the ones with 5 had the most complaints, and we maybe tweak it at that point. But I don't think it's anything to hold up. And as far as perception of cities, I think there's many cities that were mentioned. It's not like Key West; they're not going to be running in bars and things like that. So I think we'll be in good shape. So I'm fully in support.
Any more discussion? Oh, okay, I haven't moved very much from last meeting, simply because, but I do appreciate I really do. I got more education from the texting that people gave me. I mean, people went way out to educate me about the chickens and what they do and whatever. And so, and I'm appreciative of that. But as a council member, what we do, one of the main things that a council person or anybody that sits up here, it's not so much who is and who for and against or whatever. We have to look beyond that and deal with things that are in front of us, facts. It's always a back picture. Our public income, we want this. We have to say, how do we pay for this? And how do you pay for it? I'm talking about human capital. I'm talking about division. I'm talking about the services that we have to provide to keep this. There's a whole lot that goes into this than what meets the eye. And sometimes you're not going to look at it because it's what you want. And so you don't want to find yourself coming around the corner and trying to correct a whole lot of things that we didn't go through. And she was right. We didn't go through this. It was just like you come to a meeting and all of a sudden there's a chicken ordinance. We didn't sit down. We didn't intelligently do this. If you're going to make a decision about anything that's going to change lives on behalf of people that you're entrusted to serve, you better know darn sure what you're talking about. And you talk to other mayors, and know one size doesn't fit all. We're the city of Port Huron. We're the city of Port Huron. We have to look out for Port Huron, all of us, whether we want it or whether we don't want it, whether you gotta wait for it. But one thing you gotta do, you gotta make sure that you have all your ducks in order. You know, whether we're talking about blight, the chickens do this, chickens do that, we don't know about tomorrow. We may know who holds it, but we don't know about what this is gonna, we just know it's gonna. Thank you, good night.
Don't worry.
So anyway, so what I'm saying is that, it's not that I'm against chickens or anything, but as a council member, I wish that people, I wish that the, I just wish that we would have had more information in order to make this decision and make it intelligently. That's all I'm saying. You know, I got emails saying, well, you guys are gonna have a short life on the council and everything. No, that's all right, you know, I can sleep at night because you're doing what's right. When you can do that, then you're okay. It's just, she prayed about, you know, disagree to agree. So this is one of those moments for me. I mean, my niece, she said, well, I'm for the chickens. I thought, well, that's fine. And then I'd sit down and talk to her and afterwards or everything, and she said, you don't know that? You don't know that? No. So she said, well, how in the world are you going to vote on something? And I didn't know anything about this and that. You know, maybe others did, and that's why they're voting as they do. But that's what you have. You have votes, you have a city council, but we're not, it's not a personal kind of a thing. It's just, it's not personal, but it's more professional. So, but anyway, excuse me, ma'am, excuse me. Okay, so, but anyway, so we're gonna, please, all right, please, okay. Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Archibald?
No.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
No.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
No.
Didn't pass.
Did pass, okay. Motion did pass, okay. Ordinance number 2, please.
First reading, an ordinance to amend Chapter 24, Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 2, Fire Prevention Code of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances for the purpose of adopting the 2021 International Fire Code and for future versions to be automatically adopted to coincide with building code.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support?
Moved by Councilmember Mosrak and supported by Councilmember Pemberton. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Okay, that takes care of our ordinances. We do have an announcement. We have a special meeting to discuss the budget that will be held on Tuesday, May 13th at 6 p.m. in our conference room upstairs, room 408. And you all are welcome to be a part of that. And we got a little caveat today, so we're a bit ahead of the game, so at least you can have some good questions when you get up there, because we do have public audience also during that time. So I think that is about it. Does anybody else have anything to put before the council or anything?
Madam Mayor, just a
Yes.
follow-up announcement, May 10th for the Black River cleanup, so would love to have everybody out there. Starts at 10 a.m.
Okay, where do they meet at?
They can, Bakersfield or the River Street Marina at 10 a.m. And they can reach out to me if they want to get involved, and we're just trying to balance resources, et cetera.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Great, oh, okay. So again, if you want to do something really big, meet you out there at May the 10th at 10 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Okay, hearing and seeing no other comments coming before the council, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
So moved by, and supported by Councilmember Pemberton. Meeting adjourned. Thank you for your